Hello, everyone, and welcome to my live. I am Coach Sherry, and I am at day 50. I have gone live every day for 50 days. And listen, I'm giving myself a pat on the back because that that is something else. I am doing a 90-day going live every day challenge, and it started with going live every day for 30 days. And then I said, I think I can do this for 60 days. And then I increased it to 90 days. And this right here is a testimony that when you put your mind to something and you stick with it and you go through it, you'll get through. You will get through. But when you stop because you give up, because life happens, I know, trust. This has not been an easy challenge. But as life happens, and you might say, I'm not going to do that. Um, you look up 50 days later and you could have had 50 days done. So I'm glad that I'm looking up and I'm not looking at it as if, oh, I wish I would have kept up with it because I would have had 50 days under my belt. I'm happy to say that I do have 50 days under my belt. So this is Monday Motivation. And the topic is going to be about effective communication for personal and professional growth. Now, this is my YouTube channel, but this video is going to be my podcast, part of my podcast tab. So, as you know, with YouTube, you can produce shorts, pre recorded videos, lives, as well as podcasts. And you also have your community post, your community wall, where you can share links to other videos or information or motivational, inspirational quotes, thoughts, pictures, all different things like most social media platforms like an Instagram or a Facebook. So I really like all those options, and I do have a tab for podcast. So this will go under my live tab as well as my podcast tab. So this channel is about workforce development, career readiness, entrepreneurship, real life, real issues, and real talk. And my podcast is Real Talk with Coach Sherry. And I am again Coach Sherry. So I'm trying to come up with some themes for each day so that I can stay a little bit more structured and focused with my channel and my content. And so I was trying to think of different things for each day of the week. And some may be things that you've heard from other content creators before, and that's fine. There's room at the table for everyone. So I decided that for Mondays, I'm going to call it Monday Motivation. And a few weeks ago, when I started doing this challenge, I did a live on the A through Z guide for personal and professional development. And I literally went through the alphabet and for each letter came up with something that you can do, implement, learn how to do, get better at for your personal and professional development. And so far, we've gone through A, which was assertiveness, and that dealt with where you learned how to express your thoughts and feelings confidently without being aggressive. And then we went through B, which is boundaries, and that is where you learned how to establish limits to safeguard your well-being and maintain healthy relationships. So we are at C, and I really thought that I was going to have to use all the letters of the alphabet for this 90-day challenge, just trying to figure out like what content am I going to create. And I have been able to create a lot of different types of content, even content that where I brought you along with me when I was out and about. So, my channel is definitely a lot of real life. And so that's why that is part of what I do on this channel. And I'm just happy that you have come along with me. For those of you that are here live, I want to welcome you in. For those of you that are tuning in as a replay, thank you so much for your support. I appreciate everyone's view. A view is a view for sure. So today we're going to go over C in the alphabet, the A through Z guide, and that is communication. And this is effective communication for personal and professional growth. And that is so important. Communication is key in every relationship that you can have, and it is crucial for your growth. And here are just some ways for you to leverage communication skills for your development. So I hope you have your pen and paper ready so that you can capture these notes. I know a lot of people use their phones, their tablets, their computers. Whatever you use to take notes, I highly encourage you to do so. Luckily, this is recorded, so if you want to come back and listen, you can. If you want to share this with someone that in your circle that you feel is not a good communicator, that would benefit from knowing different ways of how to be an effective communicator for their personal and professional growth, please be sure to share this video with them. So, the first thing you want to do is be an active listener, because active listening helps build stronger relationships by making others feel heard and understood. And this fosters trust, respect, and collaboration. I am shocked when I am part of a conversation with multiple people and people are trying to talk over each other. I get it. Sometimes when you are in a conversation and you know what you know your point of view, you may be an SME, which is a subject matter expert of what's being said or shared. You may have experienced it at the same time with the person that's sharing it. And it's just it could even be a friendly conversation. And you're just so excited sometimes about what they're talking about until you just want to jump in before they're even done. And so before they can even get out their thought, their expression, you jump in and you just start talking. And that is one of the rudest things you can do. That's not being an active listener. That is being someone playing double dutch, just waiting for their turn to jump in. And sometimes you jump in and somebody's still in the rope jumping and you just jump in with them. But that's not how you are an active listener. Truly wait and respect a person as they are speaking. And some people, I get it, they speak slow. And well, listen, I really don't speak that slow, but I do know that when I'm presenting or sharing information like this, I want to speak a little slower so that you can fully glean the information that is being shared and capture those nuggets. But when you are talking with someone may not speak up to the speed that you're accustomed to. Give them grace and give them time to say everything that they're trying to get out. I'm telling you, when those types of conversations occur, when people are respectful for one another, you will be shocked at what really can happen, what impact that has. And it's nothing like, being heard. A lot of people aren't heard, and they don't get a chance to speak at home or at work or at school. And so when they get into their friendly circle, they want to talk. Or they may come to work, and because they don't have a voice at home, they really want to communicate and talk and be heard. So be a good active listener, and build that trust and respect and collaboration with your team or your close friends and family by being that active listener. The next thing that you want to do is you want to ask thoughtful questions and seek feedback, because that allows you to gain new perspectives and insights for self improvement. Now, asking thoughtful questions, I don't want you to just every time someone's talking or you encounter someone new, you're just thinking of a new question that you can ask. Because some people, they do that, they like plan out all of these questions because they want to appear as if they are a good communicator, or they want to appear as if they really have an interest in whatever that person is doing. When you do that time and time again, especially with the same person, it becomes obvious that you really are not that interested. Some of the questions that you ask can be, questions that you probably know the answer to, but you want to. Sometimes it appears as if you're trying to trick the person. It's one of those see you, get you, gotcha. That's what I call them. See you, I see you, but I'm gonna get you, and now I gotcha. Trying to catch them out there in some kind of form or fashion. That's not being an effective communicator at all. But you definitely want to ask thoughtful questions. Ask real questions. Be authentic when you're asking questions. Don't just ask questions just for the hell of it. Ask questions that have true meaning. And also ask for feedback. If you do something, if you present, if you participate in an event, or you are maybe training someone up, ask them for feedback, because that's how you get better. And feedback is more than just saying, "Oh, you did a great job. Oh, your verbal skills were on point. You were very no." That's good, I guess, that's good to hear. But you also want feedback of how you can do it better. What are some things that, you could do to improve what you have just said or done? And so asking someone for that true feedback is really important. Don't get offended. Don't take it personal. Definitely, take it all in and make those changes if you are capable of making those changes. It may mean that you have to join an organization or association, or get take a course or a certification, get skilled up in that way. Maybe if it's a communication issue, maybe joining a Toastmasters or some other group where you will be able to do some mini presentations and hone in those skills. So definitely ask for feedback. And the next thing for effective communication is clear written and verbal communication. And that enhances your professional image and credibility, adding for your career advancement. So when you are sending out emails for your business or emails at work, before you send it out, first of all, when you're writing your email, make sure that the whoever you're sending the email to, that's the last thing you put on the email. Because sometimes your email may be in a draft. You may have thrown up everything that you wanted to say. You may have had a challenge. Maybe you were disgruntled or unsatisfied with someone's performance, or with some results that you were expecting, maybe a delivery, or anything that you may not have been pleased with. Well, you do want to throw it all up at first, in your email, get all your thoughts out, but don't put the person's name that is going to, or the information on the subject line, because what you need to do is go back and edit it. You also may need to sleep on it for 24 hours, especially if it's a disgruntled type of email. You want to sit on it and sleep on it. You also may want a colleague or a peer to review it before you submit it, just to make sure that the language is okay. You may even want to use a AI tool like Chat GPT or Perspective, to see a better way to rewrite it. And then once you are satisfied with that written communication, then you can put who is it going to. CC yourself as well, but you can do I would say do a blind CC to yourself, because it is kind of weird when I receive emails and the person CC'd themselves, because in real life you would say, well, if you sent it, then you're going to receive it. But you want to just make sure, sometimes you have to have that checks and balances. So blind copy yourself on the email and then send it, but make sure that it's written very clearly, and that is going to enhance your professional image. So you're not bashing anyone, not putting them down. You're clearly and effectively letting them know what your challenges were, what your expectations are, and hopefully before you even had that problem, you were able to outline your expectations, and they can adhere to that. And if they don't, then you can follow that up with what you had outlined as your expectations, but what they didn't follow. So that's the next thing. All right, then we have practicing concise and organized communication, which improves your ability to convey your ideas persuasively. So you want to practice, that's my thing. I always say you have to practice every day. Practice so that when you play, you will always play to win. If you don't practice, you will play just like you didn't practice. So you want to have your thoughts and your ideas organized. If you know that you're going to have a big meeting, do a presentation, if you're rolling out something new, if you're trying to get buy-in for something that's going to change, you want to write things down. You want to make a pros and cons list. You want to talk about, why this is going to be positive, and also let them know what some of the challenges may be. Let them know this rollout is not going to be perfect, but this is some of the challenges, and we're working on those, but we feel that we can still implement this new system, this new process, and still work on the kinks on the back end. So definitely practicing that, having those think tank sessions with your team or with your partner, whoever you may be collaborating with, or with your mentor, someone that's already done it, so that they can help you talk through those points, so that you can be very effective and convincing when you have to convey new ideas in a persuasive way. So many people, they think they know, they may have done the research, they've put together the practice model for whatever it is, and then they don't really practice how they're going to pitch it. They may put together the pitch the night before, and there are some people that can roll like that. And in real life, I can roll like that. But I only can roll like that because whatever I'm pitching, I've done it already 1,000 times. I'm what I'm presenting to you is going to be new to you. It's not new to me. There's still a lot of things that go on with workforce development, with business, that are new to others. And if I'm sharing that information to them, it's pretty much my area of expertise, so I'm able to speak on it effectively. But if it's new to you as well, if it's a new system, if it's a new platform that you're using and you're still trying to figure it out, then you definitely have to practice how you're going to pitch it. And consider all the different learning styles that will be in that room. There's different things that will be important for different people at the table to hear more about. It's almost like an interview where you utilize the STAR technique. There may be that situation, there's someone that's going to want to know, what was the problem, why did we even have to use this type of platform, what kind of challenges were they having with the old system. Then there's the person that wants to know the task. Why are you involved? Who are you? How are you the expert? What have you done before to make this something that is successful? And then they want somebody at that table is going to want to know the action steps. How did you get this to the table? What are the action steps you took? Who else did you involve? What type of research did you do? Who did you speak with? How much money did it cost? How much time is it going to save? And then there's going to be someone that's going to want to know the end results, the bottom line. How long is it going to take to implement? How much money is it going to save the organization? Not just money, but also time, manpower. So you're going to have all that information when you come to the table for pitching a new idea, or trying to have someone invest in something that you're doing. And that all takes effective communication. All right, the next is adapting your communication style to your audience, because that demonstrates that you have emotional intelligence and interpersonal skills. It's nothing like talking to someone who is soft spoken and meek and mild, and you come and you big and bold and abrasive and out there loud and everything. That person can't hear anything that you're saying. They hear words coming out your mouth, but they can't understand them because you're not speaking in the tone that is favorable to them. And you may say, well, Coach Sherry, why can't they change their tone to me? If I'm the one that's loud, why can't they? And they're quiet, then I need them to talk up. And you know what? They may not have emotional intelligence. And especially if you are that leader and you may be a business owner that's trying to get their business, you need to speak their language. And so everyone doesn't do the same things. So you be that one, you be the leader in that situation. Because then at the same time, if you do speak softly and you are communicating with someone that's louder, you need to be able to code switch and pivot and talk louder too. A lot of times when people talk exceptionally loud, it's not that they're boisterous. Sometimes it's that they may have trouble hearing. They may be hard of hearing. So if you are talking soft and low and meek and mild, they may not hear you. And they may be too embarrassed to continuously ask you, say that again. Excuse me, can you repeat that? What did you say? They may get tired of saying that. So they just be like, okay, yeah, yeah. They might say yes all the time, or I don't know, I'll get back to you. And then you wonder, well, why didn't they ever get back to me? It's because they never heard you the first time. So you need to make sure that, whoever you're talking to, that you are mirroring how they are communicating, because that's the language that they will understand. And even down to the posture. A lot of people, I'm gonna say this is stereotyping, but from New Jersey, from up north, we talk with our hands, but not everyone talks with their hands, and some people can get very distracted by your hands. Even sometimes they can feel intimidated by you talking with your hands. So if you see someone and you're having a conversation with them, and they're standing maybe with their hands in their pockets, or with their hands folded in front of them, or even if they have their hands folded across their chest, try and mimic that. Don't don't start waving your hands in the air and waving them like you just don't care, all in their face, and being distracting, because that could be a turn off too. And again, if you are in business, if you are a leader in any form or fashion, you want to attract people and not have them running off. So again, yes, they could mimic you. Yeah, they could. But you be that leader and mimic and mirror them. And it's not mimicking them to the point of the things that you're saying. You're conveying what you need from them, but you're speaking their language so they understand the words that are coming out of your mouth, and they remember you, and they feel comfortable with you, and they are able to say, you know what, I want to invest in that project. I get that. I want to, I understood them. That person really communicated well with me, and I really liked the things they were saying. That's how you want people to leave you, not just, oh, they were so rambunctious. They were just, that could be a turn off for sure. Okay. The next, thank you so much. The next one is develop visual communication skills, like create engaging presentations, which can boost your confidence and your impact. And I put Slasher Chick up here, and I appreciate you for saying great tips. I have you up here because I know, what you do. You definitely develop very impactful visual communication, the things like presentations. I can only imagine what some of your presentations look like. Your videos are so amazing. And I know it doesn't take a lot. I actually have many of those same platforms, but you have a skill, a talent of putting them together to make them more compelling without them being too wordy. And that's the thing, when we go into presentations, oh my goodness, presentation 101, do not have your slides, especially if you're utilizing PowerPoint or Prezi or anything like that. You do not want to overload them with words, because people, if they can read what you're saying, then why do you need to be there? And you could just give them the slide deck and just, have them look at it on their leisure. But they always say, images. You want to have images that portray what it is that you're saying. If you work in an industry where things are moving, growing, where you have an opportunity to take actual pictures of what is being created, or the work that's being done, and by the people that's doing it, then capture those pictures and put them in those presentations. And while people are looking at those images, then your voice is coming through, and you're telling them the story behind it. A lot of times, I know for me, especially if it's like a classroom setting, I don't prefer to just stand in front and talk. I roam the room. I go to the back, I go to the middle, I go to the side, because I want everyone to be engaged and feel my presence. And the presentation is not about me. I use proximity when people ask questions. I go closer to them. I stand to the side. But if I have a presentation up, especially with those types of images, I'm going to stand in a position where they can really focus on that. It's not all about me. It's about the words that are coming out of my mouth, yes, but it's about them seeing the whole picture, and dare to dream and think about how it could work for them too. Yes, absolutely. Slasher Chick, if you have not caught her, I highly recommend you check her out. She gives great tutorials and she does them right at, during her live. So you can really follow it. I highly recommend you have your pen and paper with you so you can capture some of the things, the tools and tricks that she shares for sure. All right. And I noticed that a lot of people, especially if they haven't done a lot of presentations, they'll definitely word their presentations to death. A ton of bullet points and just paragraphs and such, no images. They might have their logo, but that's not enough. You definitely want to have other types of images. And Slasher Chick, while you're in the building, have you ever heard or have you ever used a Prezi? And that's Prezi presentation. That it works really well for young adults because of the way that the slides fly out at you. It's really cool. I haven't used it in a while. I'm sure that it's even developed even that much more if it's still a thing, but it used to, yes, okay, good, it's still a thing. Yeah, I do too. I love Prezi. And if you do presentations, if you do courses, where people are doing, you're doing training, switch it up a little bit and use Prezi. And you'll be surprised at how more engaged your audience will be for sure. All right. The next is you want to resolve conflicts through open and respectful dialogue. And that also will strengthen your problem solving abilities. So many people are scared of having those types of conversations that are uncomfortable. If something goes wrong, they just let it go wrong and they may feel more comfortable talking about it to somebody else, but they don't talk about it to the person that is actually doing it. And especially if it's part of your team, part of your business, one of your employees, or even just one of your colleagues that you have to work with and collaborate with on projects. If someone's not holding up their end of the stick, be real with them. Don't pat them on the back and allow them to think that, they're doing the right thing or what they haven't been doing is good enough. That doesn't even make sense. How is it what you have not been doing is good enough? That doesn't even make sense. So definitely you want to be able to communicate to them in a respectful way. It does not have to be disrespectful. You could have challenges or issues with what they are doing or not doing, but you don't have to communicate it that way. So, again, that may also require practice. Practice what you want to say to them, practice what the issues are, understand what they are, because sometimes, as life goes on and as more time goes by, you may forget what the issue is, but you just have an attitude. Now at this point, you don't even know why you have an attitude. So you want to make sure you write things down so that you can be very specific and give examples of when, in case that person may say, well, I don't know what you're talking about. And then you say, well, it's just a lot of things. I don't know. I can't even put it into words, or it's a lot of things. And just know that it's just about everything you do. No, that doesn't even make sense either. So you want to be specific. And the only way you can be specific is if you write them down so you can recall, even putting a date to it. Remember on this date when you were tasks or directed to do X, Y, and Z, and you didn't do it. This was a problem because it impacted the team in this way. So, being an effective communicator in that way will be very helpful. And I'm sure that the person that you're communicating that with, they may not have even realized how impactful what they did or didn't do was to the team. And so hearing it in a respectful way, that's going to help them grow too. So you're saying you haven't used Prezi in a long time? Yes, I miss it. I haven't used it in a few years. I want to say since before COVID, probably. The thing with Prezi is it's a link, it's not a platform. So when you create it, it's not like a PowerPoint, like a Microsoft product or anything like that. So when you create a Prezi, you have this link. And I know the link was a little challenging if you had to share it with someone. Like if you were doing a presentation at a conference and you put it in a Prezi. And I did this. I did a presentation in Las Vegas, and I knew that I was like, I want to do this presentation as a Prezi, but I had to submit it to the organizers, and I said, I'm going to submit it, but I'm also going to create it in a Microsoft PowerPoint just in case. And I'm glad I did, because I had to use the Microsoft PowerPoint version of the presentation because their technology at that time just couldn't figure it out. And when you're at a conference, a national conference, you're not trying to troubleshoot through technology when they have a whole technology team. And so I was just like, you know what? I'm cool. Let's just use the PowerPoint that I also sent. So that was fine. Yes. You always almost have to have, especially when you do presentations, a plan B. You might be going to a convention center, something grand, a big place, but I always bring my own clicker. And typically they'll have a clicker, but I always make sure I have my own clicker. I always make sure that I have my laptop that I created the presentations on just in case. I might have to hook up mine for whatever reason. Just little things like that, that a lot of people take it for granted, like, oh, well, they're this big national organization and they should have had all of that. Yeah, they should have. But I'm not going to let them dropping the ball impact me, because since you are the presenter, the audience doesn't look at what they did on their end. They're looking at how you are presenting. And it's not professional to say it was their fault. You have to just do what you have to do and make it work. So I make sure all things are covered for sure. The next is networking and building connections, and that is facilitated by strong interpersonal communication. And I know talked about networking before. I am a proponent of networking. There's a magazine in Charlotte called Pride Magazine. And years ago, before I stopped my world to care for my mother, they actually did an article on me regarding networking. I was considered a networking guru in all different arenas. And I remember they came to my home to do a photo shoot, and it was a really good article. But networking is key to effective communication. And if you're not networking, then you're missing out. We are all connected in some form or fashion. And I love finding those commonalities with other people. And that makes your whole interaction with them memorable, because you always want to have some type of association, be it, okay, this is this person's name. How will I remember their name? Or I've met this person, but I want to make sure after this event that I reconnect with them. But what about them will I remember? Because everyone has that basic conversation. Oh, my name is, I do this, I work here, I own this, I whatever. No, I'm finding out, where are you from? That accent sounds familiar. Oh, really? You're from Jersey? I'm from Jersey. Or you're from Louisiana? I lived in New Orleans. I always try to find that commonality, because that's what makes you memorable. And we are 6 degrees of separation. So even if it's not you, it could be a cousin, a relative, a sibling that had a similar experience, that you could say, wow, my brother did that too. And I remember when he was going through that, it was this, that, and the other. Finding that, and that is how you will network effectively. And that will make you more of an effective communicator, and will help with your professional growth, also your professional network, also your social capital. Because when you increase your social capital and people remember you, you'll start getting those invitations. They're going to start inviting you to events that they're hosting. They'll be inviting you to speak at events that they have, because you just are relatable. People like relatable people. They don't like people that are vague and, like, they just have this gray area. Like, they told me they were from here, but it sounded like, I don't know, that kind of uncertainty about who you are. People don't trust that. So you definitely want to build up that trust. Yeah, it is probably 3 degrees now because of social media. You're right. Our reach is much broader with social media. I was looking at my analytics the other day and just looking at all the different countries that are tuning in to my content. And so those people may meet people that I know, or I might meet people that they know, and those, and so on and so forth. Because that 6 degrees was back when there was no mobile phones, no internet, no computers, so I can only imagine it is probably about 3 degrees now. And so finally, we want to seek opportunities to communicate, like public speaking or leading meetings, pushing you out of your comfort zone for your personal growth. I always tell people, if you're off balance, then you're growing. If you're comfortable, then you're not growing. So you want to push the limit of your comfortableness. You definitely want to, ask if you can lead certain group meetings. And if there's a presentation, and you have experience in it, and you have, baseline foundational knowledge, then put your name in the hat for it. Again, presentations are all over the place. People are looking for speakers and presenters with a different perspective all of the time. And don't just stay in your industry. Don't just even stay in your career path. Look at all different industries. They're all talking about similar things. They're all trying to figure out AI and how it's going to impact the work that they do. They're trying to figure out DE and I and B. They're trying to figure out workforce development. They're trying to figure out how to start a business. They're trying to figure out what does marketing look like now with in technology. So if you have any expertise in any of those areas plus more, I just named a few, then look up conferences, maybe that start with the ones that are coming to your city. And they're looking for proposals. They're not just looking for proposals from people that belong to their associations. They're looking for proposals from a lot of people. And oftentimes they'll either pay for your conference admission. Sometimes they'll pay for your conference plus your hotel. Sometimes they'll pay for your conference plus your hotel plus your travel. Sometimes they'll pay for your conference, hotel, travel, and give you a stipend. So you just never know. Or sometimes they may not pay for anything, but maybe just, the day that you are speaking, you can take advantage of all of the workshops and things on that day. And if that's the case, network your behind off. Make it make sense, and make it worthwhile, because you can meet so many people. Make sure your what's it I was going to say bibliography, no, your biography speaks to who you are as a professional. Because even if you stay for the conference during the time of your presentation and then you bounce after that, your biography will have all of your information, and people from all over the region, the nation, sometimes the world, if it's an international conference, will reach out to you because they were so intrigued by your topic and what you had said. You know, I also recommend that you write articles. Again, if you are an SME in any area of your work, I mean, there's so many thousands of different careers. Whatever it is that you do, whatever type of business you have, if you have a baseline knowledge of a particular thing in it, there's all types of online publications. Associations have publications, and they are always looking for content, always. And of course, they reach out to their members first, and to see, like, what are y'all doing? But if the members are so engrossed in the industry, they don't get a chance to see what really is going on around the world. And if you have that bird's eye view, and you see things that are coming that's going to be impactful to that industry or to that occupation, write an article about it and submit it. And typically they will have regional publications as well as national and even sometimes international. Some of the publications are still tangible where they will mail them out. That's still happening, but most are now available digitally. Either way, it's a published article, and that's something you will put on your biography. That's something you also put on your resume. When I see people when they want me to revise their resumes and their resumes are 3 and 4 pages, I'm like, your resume should not be no 3 and 4 pages if you're not published or haven't done national presentations. Like, what's really going on? It's a lot of stuff on here that has to go, got to go. So consider all those things to definitely help you with your personal and professional growth. And you just never know, you got to put your name in the hat, shoot your shot. So, in essence, honing communication skills across various modes allows you to better understand others, articulate your thoughts, influence stakeholders, and continually learn and develop both personally and professionally. That is so in important. No. Was I Jeff Bezos? No. Mm-mm. I listen. I'll take his financial portfolio for sure. You know, I know you don't need 3 pages. You don't. And I tell them, and I'm like, this is absurd. And I talk to them just like that. Like, what is this? This doesn't make sense. Who are you? What's going on? You was just working. Why is your resume 3 pages? That makes no sense. And trust me, unless you have a lot, if you've done like podcasts that were on national websites, some organizations also, I've been reached out to be interviewed for podcasts for different national websites that are aligned with the work that I do, and they post it on there. So I use that link, I put it on my resume, I use it also for my CV, so that if people want to hear more about the content that we were talking about, they absolutely can. And that's part of your professional who you are, that you communicated that effectively. And so that helps with your growth, and your growth is more than just what how it's growing you. Like, when we think about growth, especially think about it from a child's perspective. When we think about a child's growth, we're thinking about them getting taller, bigger. They're learning new skills, and maybe they can tie their shoe, ride a two-wheeler, feed themselves, make their own cereal. That's growth, right? For a child. But our growth is, you know, really being authentic and true to who we are, walking in our truth, and understanding what we know and what we know well, understanding our purpose, our passion, and walking in it, and being recognized in our industry, or whatever it is that we do, being recognized as that professional. That's growth. The more people that understand that what you're talking about, that's growth as well. But gaining more knowledge, yes. Learning new things, honing your skills, sharpening your knives, making it, so that you are that bright and shiny penny in the box. That helps with your professional and personal growth, yes. But also expanding your width by having more people knowing who you are is part of your personal and professional growth. So I hope that you all got some great information, some great nuggets from this live. If you have, please be sure to leave it in the comment section under the recorded version of this. Again, this is going to be found on my live tab and on my Real Talk with Coach Sherry podcast tab. It has been my pleasure sharing this information with you. If you liked it, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you're not yet part of this team, I invite you now to hit the subscribe button and the bell for notification. I will be live tomorrow for day 51 of the 90-day Going Live Every Day challenge. Yes, I am 55% complete towards my goal, and I am feeling really good. Listen, if I could complete my lives this weekend, then I'm doing something. I just got back into town from a wonderful, wonderful weekend out of town in Atlanta, Georgia, at Spelman College's commencement services. I have posted a couple of videos that I recorded during the graduation. If you haven't seen the one that I've posted with Angela Bassett's keynote speech, you need to check it out. It was beyond my expectation. I wasn't sure what she was going to say. I really respect her. I like her a lot. I know that she's definitely a credentialed actor and, just a craft. She's a master at her craft. But I was like, what is she going to say to the graduates? And y'all, she said what she needed to say. And it was not just for the graduates, it was for everyone in the building. And it was just, I was grateful to be in the room when she was saying what she said. So please be sure to check that out. And so you're saying, Slasher Chick is saying she took some facilitation tips to move around to make presentations more engaging. Yes, that's called being in proximity to the participants, and especially if depending on the age, but even grown people, some people may not pay attention as much, and you just standing next to them sometimes as they're sitting there and just walking around, and when people know that you are going to be in different spots of the room, they really do pay attention that much better. Your dad loves Angela Bassett. Oh, thank you for sharing that with him. She did such a remarkable job, and they presented her with a doctorate degree, an honorary doctorate degree. So I do have a video of that as well. So I'm excited to share it. I did get a copy written on one of the videos, the one where the students were singing the Kurt Carr song and dancing. I don't even care. I'm keeping that up. Usually if I get copywritten, I'll take the video down, but that performance was so powerful. There was not a dry eye in the room, and I just had not seen a graduation that brought church to the building. you know, I've been to many graduations, many HBCU graduations, and I had not been that filled ever at a graduation, and it was really just wonderful. Yes, it was a motivational commencement speech. The whole commencement was beautiful. It was very traditional, and I love that about it. A lot of schools are going away from tradition to accommodate what's current, be trying to be relevant and um just, I don't know, in the mix. But you really stand out when you uphold traditions that have truly worked, traditions that give you that respect that you're due. Don't always fall for the okey doke and try to fall in line and be that follower. Remain that leader. Hold your head up high and do what you know is necessary for this time. And in this time, we need tradition. We do. Yes. Yes, they were all very talented. Absolutely. It was a graduating class of 503, I believe. I know it was 500. It might have been three or four. This Spelman College, to be so powerful and the number one HBCU in the country, is a very small school. I want to say the population is about 2,000. And those young ladies, they start and they finish. um i- it's their graduation rate, I think, is at 76% from when they are freshmen, which is incredible. So very, very pleased. Spelman has been great to my daughter, and I'm grateful for that too. And listen, when they walked in, immediately I started crying. Like, it was just very emotional. But at any rate, you all, Slasher Chick, I'm not sure if you went live yet, but I'm going to go over to your platform to see. And everyone have a great evening. Remember, practice every day. Every day, practice on something. Practice on the things that you're great at. Practice on the things that you're weak in. Practice so that when you get that opportunity, when you play, you will always play to win. It's been my pleasure. I am Coach Sherry.